me. Come on strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say if you want to be more than friends. Got some love I'd like to make.
And Charles, I want you to tell me if I'm being anal or OCD. I don't know if I can say anal publicly, but I just did. Because I'm going to tell you something that just drives me batty. As you know, I work, I'm the what is my title? Besides hangout host for my blog guest. But anyway, they have like a kind of a roundup type thing, and they pick 10 posts, okay? They meaning the admins of my blog guest, including Ann Smarty. So my job, I go and I contact people because I go do, since I do video, blah, 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 I do this little mashup of all these 10 posts, right? So I contact 10 people and I say, hey, you've been selected, please send me an image that represents your article, whatever. When I do that, and I'm doing it as myself, Social Web Cafe, I've been subscribed to lists. There's this one place that I couldn't enter anything unless I entered a phone number, and then I started getting sales calls. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. I want to opt in if I want this. I don't even necessarily want to be on your site, no offense. Mm-hmm. This is a function. I'm using your contact form because you've won something, basically. You've been featured. I'm letting you know you've been featured. I have no interest whatsoever in being on your list. Now, there's a couple of those that actually, and I'm sorry, I'm probably picking on the My Blog Guest community because that don't reverse engineer that one. But there's a couple of those that I might have subscribed. It was pretty good content, but because of the principle, I unsubscribed because I didn't like the fact that it was forced on me.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And
am I weird? Well, I might. I mean,
maybe you would have never found them. Is their point? Well, if they found me, then I'm going to opt them in. And most of us, I don't think really look at how many people are really buying anyway, right? So. At some point, and I had this drilled to me, and I can't remember who it was. May have been Evan Pagan. He said, "Look, if this is a business, you have to really look at the numbers at some point, right? You have to look at, how many people are coming to your site, how many people are buying. If you're not looking at that stuff, then is this really a business? So that being said, it's kind of like somebody opts you in and they're thinking, I'm going to get one more person on my list, and if I have enough numbers, I'll get people to buy. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not.
I found that to be you need those qualified people. Less is more.
And it takes as much time. It takes more time to write to people who are unqualified than it does to write to people who are qualified. Right, because the whole vibe is different, right? When you're writing a promotional email to somebody that is interested in something, you can have kind of like an adult conversation, and you can skip all of the copy, and you can just kind of say, really to sell something, at some point, you can say, I've either bought this or I've tested it. I've seen this work, the proof. I know the concept works. And then I work. This is how it worked for me. That's good enough to sell some stuff. That's good enough for 20 or 30% conversions on anything you send out. Now, most of the time, when we're converting something, when we're promoting something, even our own product, we don't necessarily have those things. But to take the time with something to get to that point, you have to kind of have a list of people that that are qualified. And then you don't have to go through all of the other, like the headline and telling a story and trying to weave people in and trying to get into their emotions and trying to get into their head and trying to, figure out what they're feeling. You skip all that stuff because, hey, I know what you're into. I know what you bought. you may not be interested in this thing now, but I know this will help you in your business because of what you have bought and the kind of stuff, the kind of emails you open. Take it, or take this offer now or take it later, but I know you're interested. I can write a totally
That's
different
confident.
thing to that person. It is, but it's because you sort of cheat the list building process. You just don't build this big funnel, right, of people just to be building it. Now, that being said, I mean, there's a guy named James Jones. He's got a monstrous funnel of newbie internet marketers, and all he sells is stuff for $7, right? He has this thing he sells every week. He sends out an offer for $7. I'm guessing
every week $7.
Every single Friday. Right now, I'm off of his list, right? But by
Did it work, though?
I think it works like gangbusters. But he will bring people on the webinars 2 times a week, and on those webinars, he's got some hitters coming on those webinars, and they're selling stuff that's 97, 197. This last pass, I had not been on any things that James Jones did for a long time. He did something on Kindle, and it was $9.97. I know they sold stuff on that thing, right? And so, but all that came from him building this gargantuan list of tire kickers, right? And all people who were just kind of trying to feel their way through this stuff. So you can make it work. I think that you've got to really, James Jones's list. I will say this: James Jones was selling Micro Niche Finder in 2008, and my personal opinion is that, as you said, this stuff worked 5 years ago, right? I don't think that he's getting those kinds of opt-ins at that level, right, anymore. I would be my guess, because people are just not really hearing that same thing.
We're oversaturated.
Exactly. So they're gonna get that stuff now. If you sell something on Jvzoo, and I don't know how I feel about this, right? If you sell something on Jvzoo, you can put somebody on GetResponse, right? You can put them on there if they confirm. I don't know. Once again, what do you have? Yeah, you have buyers, but they're still are they hot for it? I still at some point want them to communicate their interest, right? I want them to come forward and do. Now, it could be that they have already done that by being a buyer, right? And so putting them on another list is not a bad thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna really look at that closely going forward, because I'm looking for a different kind of buyer now, and I don't even know if I'm ever going to sell another information product. It's going to be a long time, I think, before I do, because I guess we talked a little bit about this earlier, and that is the next time I do an information product, the price level's got to be, I don't think I can sell anything for less than $197, $297, right? And that's what the workshop's selling for. And because the work's the same.
And by the way, I think your content is worth that. I often, may I say this? May I speak freely?
Of course, thank you.
I think that actually you're charging too little. I think you have such quality content.
Well, thank you.
Charging too little.
Right, yeah. The work's the same, and so I think that going forward, I'm not going to do anything less than, $197, $297, and really, when you start talking about I'm putting this thing together for small businesses, and I don't know whether or not I want to sell it as a product, or whether or not I want to take people through coaching, or I might just give it away, right? Because the model.
It's not like you go through the same vacillating that.
Right. I mean, right. But the model is the model dictates that I want you to come to the site. I want you to hang out there, and I want you to tell other people to come go there because of what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I know if you stay long enough, somebody or something is going to serve you something that you like. Something, whether or not it's a affiliate ad or whether or not it's you're going to get hit by something that you like if you stay long enough. So I want to keep you there. And so the whole vibe is got to be kind of like, I'm not keeping you there so I can sell you something. I'm keeping you there so I can give you what you need, and I want you to come back the next day and get the next thing. And if I keep doing that, right, consistently, then I still I end up with more time because I don't have to be someplace. Right? The minute I put that buy button on there, right, and I have to be someplace. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
that's a different thing. And the ROI on that, you've got to really Jeff Walker's doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
At 1997, even if he has 4 people to buy, right?
What is
Because
Jeff Walker doing?
product launch for him.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whoa.
Sorry, no. I was just saying, 1997. I was just thinking, well, how's he getting these? There are people who are buying for 1997. It's worth it.
And I'm thinking $19.97. I'm like, okay. I'm finally with you. You know, that's the cost of like a college course.
But like Steve, with Steve Harrison, what is that? Was it $5,000?
5-10 grand. But you know, when I first heard it, it's like it's not happening. And then by the next day, it's like it's going to happen someday. It's going to happen someday.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
are you really considering doing that? And it's like, yeah, it's just a matter of when I do it.
Exactly.
I'm sold.
And the ROI is right on that. Even if you are the only person that buys,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's right. $5,000 means, okay, if he has to show up in order to teach you, well, hey, that's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. An hour or two, I'm going to hang out with Deborah, and then I'm going to get done, and then I'm going to go, take my kids to soccer practice, whatever the case is, right? But it's difficult if you're hanging out and the ROI is wrong. And so I think with information products, a person's got to really know the numbers. I mean, you've got to really it's not just selling a product, man. It's like you got to really have those numbers and the ROI right. Otherwise, it's what you have been saying, it is like burnout city if you don't get it right. Right? It's burnout city.
And to take it back to the very beginning when we started doing marketing momentum, and you suggested we talk about actionable authority. I remember it's like, Charles, what are we talking about? What is that phrase again? But you have to be, not that you have to be somebody. All of us, we are somebody, and we have to realize that we can be somebody. But that doesn't mean the rest of the world knows that. So like my Hangout Queen curriculum, I actually took it off the membership site because there's the whole, you know this with the membership, there's a whole other element. So I removed the coaching element to bring the price down to $99 instead of $497.
Right.
And I'm going to try that. And I don't know, that might be the opposite of what you're suggesting. I totally get the...
But the ROI is right on that, right? Because
Pardon me?
The ROI is right. You create the product. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now it's a matter of sending the buyers there. So you don't have to show up for anything. Maybe
true.
for support. So I mean the ROI on that is right, and I think everybody's got to kind of figure out. And I think the longer this came, like I said, I told you, I mean, I've been in since 2008. I think everybody evolves at two different points at different times, and the point I'm at right now is, I mean, I'm obsessed with my ROI. I'm obsessed with making the numbers work and understanding the business and having a business model and saying, okay, what I thought was impossible is really not if I understand the numbers. right? So I'm just deconstructing everything. If I know if I know that this, that let's say that I know what a board now costs for me to have the radio station right here, for me to have the camera. I know what that costs. I know what that cost is. Well, that cost could be intimidating, but the cost is not intimidating when I understand the numbers and I understand what I have to do to get that level of cash flow to cover that. I know that I don't need to think like, if I think like a consumer, I either got to buy it outright or I got to buy it on credit. That doesn't work. But if I think like a business, it's not so scary, number one. Number two, I know how to make that number make sense now. I know what every site visitor, I know how much every site visitor contributes to me getting that equipment, right? So now I can obsess about getting the site visitor and giving them quality and giving them what they want and keeping them on my site. That's what I've been missing, which is thinking through the process all the way through so that it becomes about providing the quality to the visitor, because they're going to give me what I want, right? Even if I decide to sell them something, and I obsess about making sure they get the result they want, right? Making sure they get the result they want. I know that whatever it is I got to have, I know what they're going to contribute to that. I know what what every one of them means when they hit the buy button, when they get the OTO. I've got to know those numbers. But right now I've broken it down. I know what every site visitor means to me. And so I can obsess about getting those people there and keeping them on the page. I can understand that. And I have understood that fundamentally about that was my entry point into internet marketing, like I said. So I've kind of intuitively understood that better than I've understood anything, better than product creation, better than PPC, better than selling products. I've done that stuff, but I have understood this and the radio show intuitively. I've understood that since I got in. I didn't need a course to understand that. Right now, there's some things
I'm sorry to see it is, it's in your
but
blood.
You know what I'm saying.
Yep, definitely. That's why I said no offense to Walmart, but that's what we were in the hosting business and we were the lowest priced domains for domain registration globally for a week, and then we were $1 more. But you know what? It was like the Walmart model where we had so many clients, but we were making like $2.17 off of each one per year. And I said after that, I said I'm not going back to that. There's too much work. And they're like, well, how come you're not there every time I want you? Because you know what? You're only worth $2. No, you don't say that to people, but they don't realize it's like, well, I paid $12.99 for a domain, so you need to be there right now. And it's like, I'm looking at going, yeah, and after all the fees, it's $2.17 for the whole year.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It puts it in perspective.
It does. It puts it in the right perspective. That's the real deal. Mm-hmm. What is it? Is it in accounting? Is profit contribution? What do you bring to what do you really bring to the bottom line? And if I start dealing with taxes, healthcare, what do you really bring? What do you bring to my bottom line? Is that worth me being there for you? If it isn't, then maybe I need to be an adult and say, you know what? I can't do this. I can't work with you, man. I can't work with you. You bring $28 to my bottom line after healthcare. I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna work with you for that.
Well, and it's not about the people, but it's kind of like junk bonds. You had to hope that maybe you had like 2,000 people that never asked for any support to take care of that one person that was problematic. And that was the only way to offset. So it's literally like you're operating on a deficit and you're functioning with junk bonds. And it wasn't the way that I wanted to run the business.
Right. No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
To go for quality, including list building quality. Charles, this has been wonderful.
It's good conversation. Very good conversation.
So was all of our. I say that every time too. All of our conversations are so good.
I think they all are. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, iHEART agrees. So.
Yep. Once iHEART, after 4 episodes, said, "We want you," is like, wow, Charles, I know we've only known each other for a month at this point, but now we're committed.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
that,
Right on.
right?
Right on. Right.
iHeart
Yeah.
has said this. So, but yeah, now that they've endorsed it, it's there.
It's game on.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Charles.
Oh, thank you, Deborah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last episode with Charles Terrence Harper as the co-host of Marketing Momentum. Charles, we love you and we will miss you on the show, but we understand that you're moving on to some projects like taking your talents to Main Street. And ladies and gentlemen, Charles will still be behind the scenes doing what? Marketing. Our new co-host will join us in his debut episode next week, and his name is Chuck. That's Chuck Hester. And you will learn more about him by tuning in next week. Thank you.
Don't you wanna kiss and hug me? Come on strong, go on and love me. Let's not waste that big old moon. Wake up and smell the perfume. Just say when. If you wanna be more than friends, got some love I'd like to make. Baby, you can squeeze me, I won't break. We could be in a paradise, you and me. Until then, I'll remind you again. Just say when. Oh yeah, until then, I'll remind you again. Just